Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for this video, I'm going to be talking about the elements of a Shakespearean tragedy. Now, what's a tragedy? A tragedy in real life are events causing great suffering, destruction, and distress, such as a serious accident or a crime or a natural catastrophe. We see tragedies all around us every day. Things like poverty in our world, things like people dying from COVID. These are tragedies. Now, a tragedy in a play, however, deals similarly but with tragic events that have an unhappy ending, especially one concerning the downfall of a main character. For Shakespeare, tragedy is a genre which often sees majority of his characters die, hence a tragic ending. Now, Shakespeare's elements of tragedy are consistent elements that can be found in each one of Shakespeare's tragic plays. So we look for these three elements in each one of Shakespeare's tragic plays. They can be found in Othello. We can see them in King Lear. We can see it in Julius Caesar, Romeo and Juliet, and of course, spoiler alert, Macbeth. Now, the first one of these elements is called the fatal flaw. This can be a good or bad characteristic that our main character has. In a case like Romeo and Juliet, it's Romeo's love for Juliet and Juliet's loyalty to Romeo that ultimately causes this tragic downfall. In Othello, it's Othello's jealousy that ultimately causes him to make a poor decision, although he's a noble and a good man. This fatal flaw is a human characteristic that directly causes the death. It could be that I am too trusting of someone, and I just say, I believe they're a good person, and I choose to give them everything that I have. Ultimately, they steal and rob me. That could be my fatal flaw, that I'm too trusting. The second feature in a Shakespearean tragedy or element are the external pressures. In Romeo and Juliet, we see family division that creates a wedge between Romeo and Juliet, causing them to isolate themselves from the rest of the world. They take this approach of us against the world due to them believing that the family will not approve of their love for one another. In Othello, we see Iago manipulate Othello into believing that his wife is cheating. We also see the theme of racism contribute to Othello's place in society. It makes him insecure because he feels like he's an outcast. In Macbeth, look at the influence that the witches create. These witches certainly act as an external pressure, causing Macbeth to think or believe a certain way. Ultimately, the final element is the downfall. All of these characters start in a position of nobility and ultimately fall to a dark place. In most cases, this results in death. In Romeo and Juliet, Romeo drinks poison while Juliet commits suicide. In Othello, Othello kills his wife believing that she's been cheating on him, but then finds out that he was being manipulated the whole time and that she did not, in fact, cheat on him. He can no longer live with himself. These three elements, look at how they translate to Macbeth. And even as you're reading the play, make sure to make points. Say, maybe I found a fatal flaw in Macbeth. Maybe this might act as an external pressure. And ultimately, look at what the cause of his downfall is. I hope you found this video beneficial. Should you have any questions, feel free to contact me.